Okay. All right, how we doing? Good. All right, packed house. Here we go. All right, so obviously we got a big day here. Got to get ready to get out there and get good reps in the red area day for us, like we've talked about before. So important day for us to prepare and get ready to go. Obviously, we got a big game, and we're just kind of pushing forward. So pretty much standard week for us from that account, and just had a good day yesterday in practice. We had an opportunity to go outside and pads and work on some fundamentals. We don't have a lot of padded practices left. We actually only have one left after yesterday. So it's good to be able to do that as much as possible, and especially some of the younger guys or some of the guys now that are have roles on the active roster and have to go out and play. It's always good to continually try to develop them as we go through the season. So it was a good opportunity yesterday. We got to mix in some new drills and things like that. So it was a good day. But obviously just pushing forward with the Bills and getting ready to go. So what we got?
Coach, you talked before about strength up the middle. I wonder how that's developed with Damon Harrison and JD, and then like you just mentioned, being able to practice in clubs, sort of develop that whole concept.
Yeah. You always want to be strong in the middle of your defense, certainly, and build from the ball out, which, when we got Damon, that was a great addition for us to be able to do that. He's extremely strong. This guy plays with great pad level, great hand strike, good technique, very smart. So he's, I think, really helped those other guys develop a lot, that are in the room and been able to share a little bit of his just kind of knowledge, experience, and kind of, that veteran savviness to help some of those other guys that are in there. He, along with Ricky Jean, and developing some of the younger guys that we've had to play, through the course of the season. So it's been good, and we're just, continually trying to make that unit be cohesive and just kind of be out there together. The more they kind of play out on the field together and are kind of on the field in the same settings, then you kind of tend to take the next step, which is be able to play off of each other in certain situations. So sometimes, guys in the front may take a shot or may see something and they'll try to, make a play in a particular situation. And the more comfortable everybody gets working together, then it's quicker or easier for them to work off of each other in those situations, which is always great. So, but that also goes right through from the front to the linebackers to the secondary too. You want to be strong all the way through to the back end. So continually trying to develop some of the safeties, and obviously still building on the safety leadership that we have it's been good.
How much pain is Matthew in right now, and what's he dealing with exactly?
How much pain is he in?
Exactly.
I don't know what his pain level is, but I would say, look, he's, battling every single day. He's a tough guy. He's, fighting through an injury just like a lot of the guys are. A lot of guys are beat up at this time of the year. It's just kind of what it is, and it's just day to day from that standpoint. So, again, we got a great medical staff. We got guys, that are in there, and part of being a professional football player is your body maintenance. It becomes it's very much not only routine, but a big part of what you do on a daily, just kind of your daily schedule. So to make sure that you're getting proper treatments or just kind of proper maintenance as you go through the day. A big part of it for us is trying not to let small things turn into big things, as of course through the season, as the season goes through the, as you go through the course of the season. And so just all the guys are kind of just, fighting through all that and getting better.
I don't know if you characterize this thing as a small thing then or not, but as tough as he is, what would it take to shut him down, I guess, here?
I don't know. I don't speculate on that stuff. We're just, day to day with everything there.
Balance do you have to have, though, between, like you said, you don't want small things to become big things, between continuing to play him versus resting him to
Who's that?
Stafford? To avoid.
I think all of it's for, like we're trying to go win. We're trying to go play, play a game. We got to go beat the Bills. So we got a lot of guys in that category, just that are, out there trying to go, and guys that can play will play, and guys that can't won't. I certainly won't put anybody in a situation where, I think they're going to be an injury risk to themselves or the team. I would never do that. From that standpoint, they're more than just players. They're fathers, they're brothers, they're human beings. They're guys. And you love them and you care about them and you want to make sure that they're safe, and that's the most important thing. So, that's why we have great medical staff that works with those guys every day, and a lot of it's on them to kind of tell us, where they're at too, and just make sure that they're, physically and emotionally ready to go. This is a hard sport. It's a tough game. There's a lot of that goes into it, and when you go through that 60 minutes on Sunday, you go through a lot. Not only physically but mentally. So we're always trying to make sure that the guys are evaluated from that standpoint, and then they can go out there and perform at a high level, and if they can, they will, and if they can't, then they won't.
Just one other thing on that: how much does this Iron Man streak come into play when you make these sort of decisions, whether to play
I'm just worried about him as an individual and then us as a team, so I don't really, I don't worry about any of that other stuff. We're just trying to do what we can to win.
How much is the back hampered? Maybe what you guys have been able to do, what he's been able to do, because even from a physical standpoint, it looks like there's been a difference in him the last couple of weeks.
I don't know. I think maybe you're reading into that stuff too much. I think, just in general, I think ankles, knees, backs, necks, shoulders, all that stuff affects everybody. When they got to go play, it's a physically demanding game. Weather, certain weather systems can affect guys' joints. It's just part of playing the game and having the wear and tear as a football player. So many different factors can go into all that stuff. And we're just trying to field conditions. It just whatever it is. So we'll do the best we can. When we're ready to go out there on Sunday, we'll go play.
Buffalo, when looking at them with or without Shady, is that offense much different or no?
Great question. So, obviously he's just a special player, going against that guy for a long time. He's very dynamic. He can really do things on the field that a lot of guys can't, so you have to do a good job of defending him. I would say they don't really change what they do from a schematic standpoint. A lot of the runs are the same called runs. They may look a little bit different based on how he runs them. Obviously Chris Ivory is more than capable. He's a different style guy, but even Murphy, when he gets out there, it's a different type of back. He's got a different skill set, and it's still very dangerous in those situations. So definitely we have to prepare and be ready to go for McCoy to be out there and be be ready to go. I think they just use them all efficiently in that manner. I think for the most part, Daboll's just kind of rolling them in there by series, or there might be a couple situational plays where they have them all in there. But I think he trusts all those guys to go out and perform whatever it is they have to do.
You played against LaShawn McCoy a bunch. And Kyle Williams, another guy that's been there forever. I know you didn't have a ton of direct matchups with him, but what's allowed him to be as good as he's been for so long?
He's phenomenal. I was actually at the Pro Bowl. We coached the Pro Bowl, and he was there too. So phenomenal player, student of the game. He's really smart. This guy has seen a lot of different, played in a lot of different schemes, seen a lot of different offensive schemes, loves to just talk ball. I think his knowledge, and if you watch on tape, one of the things I think he's doing a great job this year is his communication on the field. He really is controlling a lot of what they do in the front. They run some stunts and some games and some different pick packages up inside, and he's really kind of coordinating a lot of that, and probably a lot of it's based on the calls that he's getting from the other side of the ball. He's been in the game long enough to recognize protection calls and run calls and things like that, and he can kind of manipulate those guys up front to go in different directions based on what he hears. So as far as a player, he's dynamic. This guy's explosive. He's strong. He's really just he's got some sudden movement with that combined strength that he can just slap a guy and get him by and then be into the backfield pretty quick. So he's a great player. He's a real just one of those guys that's been doing it at a high level for a long time.
You had Matt Castle early on in your career, or in his career, and now a whole season with him every day. What's kind of stood out to you this year about him on the practice field that's kind of stood out to you?
I think Matt's pretty much the same guy I've known for his entire career from that standpoint as character and personality and all of that. He's a guy that's obviously been in a couple different systems, and I think one of the things that amazes me the most about players in the NFL is how quickly they have to adapt to new systems and how difficult that is. When you learn a new system, offense, defense, special teams, whatever it is, it's like learning a language, and especially at the quarterback position where you have to master that language at a high level in a very quick manner. That's one of the things to me for him that impresses me the most, just as far as his ability to go to different systems and kind of just be able to understand the concepts and be able to transfer it into the, the proper terminology and go. He works hard. He's still athletic. He's still got a strong arm. He's still, smart, reads coverages, and is still, like I said, he's a great guy, a great person to have on the team. But that's the one thing that, maybe you could pinpoint that say it's really kind of unique is the ability to do that, to be able to kind of just have that football intelligence to kind of, marry all that stuff together. It's not easy.
In a few weeks, what more does he have to do to get on the field, maybe for some development here?
Sure. Well, game day rosters are tough. There's a lot of different other factors that go into those, and who's up and who's down, and special teams, offense, defense. So sometimes it's one position may be drastically affected by another position, or game plan. There might be something specific that we're trying to do for that particular week, which requires us to either have more DBs, less DBs, more offensive linemen, less offensive linemen, something along those lines. I think he's a player that is just continually growing as a professional, and a guy that's really just doing a good job of trying to improve every single week. And I think he's had a couple really good weeks of practice. He goes out and he works really hard, and I've definitely seen an improvement in his technique and some of the things that he's done the last several weeks. And and again, we're always trying to, great to have everybody available for the game. That would be probably the best scenario for all of us. But unfortunately, we can't. It's just kind of what the situation is. So he just keeps working hard, and he's getting better. He's getting better, and when he has that opportunity, whenever it is, he's ready to go. And that's the great part about it, is I know he just kind of comes in and grinds it out every day, and whenever that is, he'll step in and he'll give us everything he's got. Okay.
Just one thing about field position. I don't know if this is important or not. In last week's game, the Jets had a 20-yard differential in drive start, 47-27. I'll bet, and a lot of that was due to special teams.
Sure.
How significant is that making a team drive the length of the
Yeah, well, I think it's critical, if you can get it, and obviously it's only critical if you capitalize on it. That's the bottom line. But I think, especially in a situation where if you're playing in Buffalo, for instance, particularly this weekend where weather could be an issue, it may or may not. You never really know until you get there that day. Field position does become, pretty critical in the game, and especially if you have different parameters that affect your ability to move the ball. The one thing about the weather or the environment is it usually affects the kicking game first. Wind tends to affect those guys first, or affect that phase of the game first. So, trying to do a good job of gaining that advantage in field position is critical. It's something everybody tries to do in the league, and but again, unless you capitalize on it, it doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, sure, yeah, it's a big chunk of the field right there. What'd you say? What is it? Planet Earth Day?